It is said that with great power comes great responsibility, and in today's times, artists tend to be put in a place that is even more compromising, and we're sure Justin Bieber must feel the same. It's safe to say that one of the most entertaining things about the F1 is the drama that comes up in the league one way or another. Let's take a look at why F1 is in the news this time. Like, why is Justin Bieber urged to scrap the Saudi F1 show? Stay tuned to find out. Firstly, what's up with the Formula One? It seems that F1 is taking the Middle Eastern route to host the remainder of their season. Right after the Qatar Grand Prix took place, the one where Lewis Hamilton continued to charm audiences with the charisma only he has, the next Grand Prix is set to be hosted by Saudi Arabia, which was for many years the Forbidden Kingdom, or more accurately, the Orthodox wasteland that wasn't very popular with everyone. But it seems that things are changing, specifically as the Saudi government is making efforts to inculcate more modern and progressive practices for it to be seen as a moderate state rather than a conformist, obsolete one. These include a more liberal media, the allowance of women driving, and so much more, like F1 races and other big events and concerts being held. This is what has a bit of drama brewing. And for those who don't know what we're talking about, in the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix scheduled on the 5th of December, the inaugural edition of which is set to be held in Jeddah is going to be featuring an ensemble of artists like A$AP Rocky, DJs David Guetta and Tiesto, and singer Jason Derulo. But the main controversy is around the performance of Canadian superstar Justin Bieber, who is in some hot water. Next, what is the controversy actually about? While Saudi Arabia is making efforts to modernize the culture by trying to be lenient despite religious regulations, this time political factors are making things a bit hard, with the skeletons in MBS's closet coming to haunt them. What basically happened is that the fiancee of slain journalist Jamal Khashoggi has put up a striking letter, published and distributed by the Washington Post, that basically Hatice Cengiz urged the Canadian pop star to cancel his December 5th performance in the Red Sea city of Jeddah to, quote, send a powerful message to the world that your name and talent will not be used to restore the reputation of a regime that kills its critics. However, interestingly, this isn't the first time a pop icon / high-scale singer has been under pressure to cancel a concert in Saudi Arabia, and it definitely won't be the last. The biggest star to be subject to that was Mariah Carey, who was the first superstar to hit the stage in Saudi Arabia after Khashoggi's assassination by Saudi agents in Turkey in October of 2018. She, however, simply brushed off any plea to boycott the show. On the other hand, some stars like Nicki Minaj succumbed to pressure in 2019, forcing her to cancel her onstage performance at a concert in Jeddah, saying at the time she wanted to show support for women's rights, queer rights, and freedom of speech, but wasn't allowed to. So much for activism, right? Now, what is the Khashoggi case about? Before we go into detail about this, let us give you a trigger warning for the things you're about to hear, which primarily includes assassination, kidnapping, and gore. Under mysterious circumstances, on the 2nd of October 2018, the liberal journalist who used to write for the Washington Post after he moved to the US was abducted and then murdered in the Saudi consulate in Istanbul, where his fiancée was left waiting for him 10 hours after he had mysteriously disappeared and later assumed to be dead. The main cause for his assassination points to his open critique of the Saudi government and their barbaric regimes in the past and the present. According to Saudi officials, the journalist was slain in a rogue operation by a team of special Saudi agents who came to persuade him to return to the kingdom with them. Interestingly enough, the Turkish officials said the agents did exactly as they were instructed to do by the higher tier of the Saudi government, and that was after 2 weeks of refraining from issuing any kind of comment. But in a change of tune on the 20th of October, the Saudi government revealed that a preliminary investigation by prosecutors had concluded that the journalist collapsed during a fight after defying attempts to take him back to Saudi Arabia. Later, Saudi officially deduced the cause of death via a chokehold. On the 15th of November, Saudi Arabia's deputy public prosecutor Shalan al-Shalan publicly revealed that the murder was ordered by the leader of a negotiations team deployed by Istanbul by the Saudi intelligence apparatus to bring Khashoggi to the kingdom by means of persuasion or, if that failed, by force. And, well, judging by the events that took place, the obvious assumption is the latter. Please note that your invitation to participate in a concert in Jeddah comes directly from MBS, as the Crown Prince is known. Cengiz wrote in her open letter to Bieber, "Nothing of significance happens in Saudi Arabia without his consent, and certainly not an event as important and flashy sketchy as this. Bieber's concert in Saudi Arabia comes shortly before he opens a world tour in February that was rescheduled from 2020 due to the pandemic. And in the emotionally charged letter by the slain journalist's fiancée, she also says this with regards to Bieber. Your face is even featured on the event's website, with his, the executioner of my fiancé, Jamal. She added, "Do not sing for the murderers of my beloved Jamal. Please speak out and condemn this killer, Mohammed bin Salman. Your voice will be heard by millions." Get yourself comfy, as we're almost at the end. We'll be talking about the show, the protocols around it, and more, so don't go anywhere. Next, let's look at more on the show and the protocols around it. Meanwhile, Saudi Arabia's state-owned sovereign treasury, spearheaded by Prince Mohammed, bought shares of Live Nation, the company that owns Ticketmaster and promotes concerts for Bieber and other superstars. So if that isn't a hint, we don't know what is. As Live Nation's shares dropped down last year due to COVID-19 and the cancellation of numerous shows, the public investment fund purchased nearly $500 million worth of shares in the busted company. But public records illustrate that the Saudi Wealth Fund is now the second largest institutional buyer in Live Nation, with a stake worth some $1.4 billion. Yes, that sum is insane. And now coming to scrutiny, the Human Rights Watch has also appealed to Bieber and the other performers to cancel their shows at the F1 concerts in Saudi Arabia, saying these events do nothing but sport wash the situation by deflecting investigative observation from Saudi Arabia's human rights record. And as the race nears and the letter gains more traction, things continue to look uncertain as they near. Will Bieber also succumb to international pressure to cancel his headlining performance in what will be the inaugural F1 event in Saudi Arabia? What does this mean for the image of F1 and, by extension, Saudi Arabia? Realistically, events like these serve as a flicker of hope for artistic expression and liberation that the Saudi youth hopes and prays for. The kingdom's General Sports Authority insists that sports is an important tool for social progression within the kingdom. Next month's F1 race will be the first time Saudi Arabia hosts the elite sporting event, in an effort to market the country's tourism and to make it more appealing for people. But as for the Saudi Grand Prix that's supposed to take place this weekend, it seems that preparations are in order and that any chances of probable cancellations seem dim. And, well, considering how powerful the kingship is in Saudi Arabia, any appeals, even internationally, won't stand between the kingdom's sovereignty, because as of now, the latest news regarding the Saudi Grand Prix is related to how much they need to get done for this weekend's race to take place, with a proper standard. F1 sporting director Steve Nielsen said, "It's an ambitious project. It will be a great facility. They're up against it. They are. But they're literally working 24/7, as they have been for quite a long time now. I saw some more photos this morning, and they've made huge progress. And seeing how the race at Jeddah will see Hamilton versus Verstappen in full-fledged, in all its nitrous oxide-filled thrill, fighting for the 8-point gap, and seeing how the F1 and the Saudi government is handling this, chances are that, more likely than not, the event is taking place in full zoom, pun intended. And that's all we have for you today, folks. If you have any queries, please drop them down in the comments below. And don't forget to check out the next video. But until then, ciao.